Manifestation, the 10th spiritual law of the universe. The crux of what we have seen so far is that it is only by being your true self that you experience the spontaneous overflow of all the good things in life that you call success. When you are not living from your true self, all your efforts are in vain. You are like a caterpillar that is praying, fasting, tithing, confessing, and practicing manifestation techniques with a goal of flying. What I have been teaching throughout the years, and especially in this spiritual engineering course, is that in order to fly, the caterpillar has just one way. It has to metamorphose into a butterfly. If you examine the 9 spiritual laws of the universe that we have treated so far, what will be clear to you is that you are not the body you see in the mirror. You are not the circumstances that are happening to you. You are not the thoughts you are thinking. You are not the feelings you are feeling. And you are not even the beliefs you hold. More than 95% of human beings die without having lived because they were existing in the illusion created by the false self. But what do I mean by your true self and your false self? You are a being with a dual nature, living in a reality that has a dual nature. Reality is an infinite and eternal presence within which the observable universe exists as a transient phenomenon. According to modern scientific evidence, the observable universe makes up less than 0.01% of reality, while the remaining more than 99.99% is unknown. This unknown is what scientists call space and mystics call spirit. So, reality is less than 0.01% physical and more than 99.99% spiritual. Secondly, this infinite and eternal presence that is manifesting and experiencing itself as the universe is the same infinite and eternal presence that is manifesting and experiencing itself as you. You are, therefore, a spiritual being who is the image or individualization of infinite spirit, living in a body which is a holographic image of the cosmos. Since you are a spirit, your real self is the activity that is going on in your consciousness. The space-time universe is a 3-dimensional screen on which you are projecting your inner consciousness. Your heart is the projector that beams your inner state of consciousness into the space-time universe through the medium of your feelings. Your brain, served by the antenna of your senses, is the receptor through which you capture, interpret, and experience the images that the universe is mirroring back to you and which you call experience. Thus, your consciousness is your reality. Your heart is the projector of that reality. The space-time universe is a 3-dimensional screen on which your inner reality is being projected, and your brain is a receptor through which you experience the movie you are creating on the screen of space-time. You are a sublime self, living and moving and having your being in, through, and as a natural self upon the 3-dimensional screen of the space-time universe. You are an eternal self, living and moving and having your being in, through, and as an embodied self upon the 3-dimensional screen of the space-time universe. You are an infinite self, living and moving and having your being in, through, and as an individualized self upon the 3-dimensional screen of the space-time universe. You are a trans transcendent self, living and moving and having your being in, through, and as a transient self upon the three-dimensional screen of the space-time universe. You are an essential self, living and moving and having your being in, through, and as an expressed self upon the three-dimensional screen of the space-time universe. You are a divine self, living and moving and having your being in, through, and as a human self upon the three-dimensional screen of the space-time universe. The unconditioned consciousness, or spirit of life, becomes you by incarnating into a body and assuming a human identity through which it can experience life on this space-time universe. This human self is a soul whose interaction with the body and the environment creates the mind. The social conditioning of the mind and the soul is the root of all your troubles. It is the eternal source of life that is flowing toward you, into you, and through you. This divine outpouring is what is known as the Logos of creation, the will of God, or divine intention. Since life is the fullness of God flowing into you and through you, and God is love by definition, we conclude that grace, mercy, goodness, abundance, increase, and glory are the natural laws of your life. In fact, the purpose of your life is to manifest these divine qualities. What this really means is that the desires, dreams, and visions in your heart are not authored by you. They are the creative spirit in motion, seeking to manifest itself through you. You are only a channel of the infinite potential that God is. The contrast you experience on the outside world serves the purpose of calling forth from within you the desire for what will bring you joy and glory in this moment. Hunger is not a problem that you should be fighting against. It is a contrast that helps you define what you want in this moment, which is food, and by so doing, call it forth from the ocean of desire within you. Sickness is not a problem that you should be fighting against. It is a contrast that helps you define what you want in this moment, which is health and well-being, and by so doing, call it forth from the ocean of desire within you. Therefore, before you ask for anything, the thing is already given. This is so because it is the thing itself that inspired you to ask for it, since it has chosen you as a channel through which it wants to fulfill itself. You can visualize yourself as the borders of a dam. The dam is an infinite sea or a body of water under pressure to release itself. Your soul is a gate or a valve. When it is open, you feel that inrush in the form of a desire. But then, whether or not that desire manifests depends on your state of consciousness. This is a life-transforming revelation, but I know it will take time to sink in. I assure you that even if this is the only metaphysical truth you ever learn, it will still work wonders in your life. This is the awareness you arrive at if you study and understand the spiritual laws of the universe. This is the awareness that is called faith. And this is the basis on which Jesus taught that when you ask for anything in prayer, believe that it has been given and you will receive it. Here is the problem. Since most people are living life from their human self, their sensual immersion in current circumstances causes them to focus more on what is lacking rather than on what they are creating. Since all things come to you according to your faith or attention into lack overshadows your expectation, and so you get more lack. But those who study the spiritual laws of the universe and understand them become born anew or transformed through faith, which is simply knowing the truth and being set free from your false reality. Such people live from their sublime self, and their capacity to see things before they emerge in the physical puts them in a state of joyful anticipation and gratitude. The great tragedy of our time is the shallow egocentrism and consumerism instilled into the masses by the capitalist civilization. Since people are focused on getting, they project this attitude onto the universe, thereby treating the universe like a giant ATM machine that they expect to cough out money, jobs, healing, romantic partners, and other miracles, simply because they have applied various manifestation techniques or religious rituals to ask. Unfortunately, the universe does not work that way. And that is why frustration and stress keeps piling up in the universe. Any motivational, religious, educational, or business system that makes more noise about how you can get things rather than guide you into becoming the creator and giver of things is a waste of your energy and time. The greatest miracle that awaits you is when you forget yourself and the false life you are living, dive deep into the essence of life, develop a relationship with your eternal self, and become transformed into the present moment sublime version of yourself. When this happens, success will flow from your being like a river everywhere you go, because you would have become the walking presence of heaven. This is the success that is worth seeking. I am GodfreyEsoh, and this is Spiritual Engineering.